The blinding of 15,000 Bulgarian soldiers, one of the most horrific acts of cruelty in the history of warfare, a deed that sealed the fate of the First Bulgarian Empire and cemented the reputation of Basil II as the Bulgar-Slayer, a moment that marked the culmination of a long and bitter conflict between the Byzantines and the Bulgars. The origins of this conflict can be traced back to the 7th century, when the Bulgars, a Turkic people, migrated to the Balkans and established a powerful state that challenged the Byzantine domination of the region. For centuries, the two empires fought for supremacy, clashing in numerous wars and battles. The Bulgars often had the upper hand, and even besieged Constantinople, and made a drinking cup out of the skull of one of the defeated Byzantine emperors. However, in the late 10th and early 11th centuries, the Byzantines made a comeback, under the leadership of Basil II, who ascended to the throne in 976 at the age of 18. He was determined to reclaim the Balkan lands that had been lost to the Bulgars and to destroy their empire once and for all. He embarked on a series of campaigns of attrition, gradually wearing down the enemy, depriving them of territory and resources, and consolidating his gains before pushing forward again. The Bulgars, led by Tsar Samuel, a member of the powerful Constantinople family, resisted fiercely, but could not match the Byzantine military might. Samuel adopted defensive tactics, blocking the Byzantine access to his territory through the passes of the Thracian and Macedonian mountains with moats and walls. He also relied on guerrilla warfare, ambushing and harassing the Byzantine forces. The conflict reached its climax in 1014, when Basil II launched a decisive campaign against the Bulgars. He and his general Nicephorus Xiphias outmaneuvered the Bulgarian army, which was defending one of the fortified passes in the modern Balasitsa Mountains, close to the village of Kleidion. The battle, known as the Battle of Kleidion, took place on July 29, 1014, and resulted in a crushing Byzantine victory. The Bulgars were surrounded and slaughtered, and about 15,000 of them were taken prisoner. After the battle, Basil II sent his favorite and best general, Theophylactus Bataniates, to finish off the rest of the Bulgar army. However, Bataniates was ambushed by the Bulgars and killed, along with his forces. This enraged Basil II, who decided to inflict a punishment that would haunt the memory of his enemies for generations. He ordered that all the captives be blinded, except for 1 in every 100, who would be spared one eye to lead the rest back to their homeland. The execution of the order was swift and brutal. The Byzantine soldiers gouged out the eyes of the helpless Bulgars, leaving them in agony and despair. The sight of their mutilated comrades filled the survivors with horror and grief. The blinding of 15,000 Bulgarian soldiers was a massacre, a carnage, a slaughter. The blind army was sent on its way, a long and torturous journey across the mountains and valleys. The one-eyed guides struggled to lead their blind companions, who stumbled and fell, moaned and cried, begged and prayed. The blind army was a spectacle, a mockery, a curse. The blind army finally reached the capital of Preslav, where they were received by their ruler, Tsar Samuel. The sight of his blind soldiers was too much for the old Tsar, who had fought for decades against the Byzantines. He collapsed from a heart attack and died shortly after, on October 6, 1014. The blinding of 15,000 Bulgarian soldiers was the end of his reign, the end of his empire, the end of his dream. The blinding of 15,000 Bulgarian soldiers was also the end of the First Bulgarian Empire, which soon collapsed under the Byzantine pressure. Basil II completed his conquest of the Balkans and earned himself the epithet of the Bulgar-Slayer. He became one of the most successful and celebrated Byzantine emperors, but also one of the most ruthless and feared. His deed of unspeakable cruelty was a testament to the lengths to which one man could go in the pursuit of power, even if it meant becoming as barbaric as the very enemies he sought to subjugate.